Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spirit of Vinyl. My name is Craig, and this is the show where I talk about records that are in my collection. How are you guys all doing this week? Well, this week I want to talk about the first album that basically, in my opinion, started heavy metal music. This one right here, Black Sabbath's self-titled album. To me, this is the album that starts heavy metal, right? I mean, people talk, maybe it's Led Zeppelin, and there was heavy bands back in the day. There were heavy bands like Zeppelin and Blue Cheer and The Who and stuff like that, but none of them were heavy metal. Not until this happened. Okay, this is a 1970 version, Pittman pressing, and I've got this one listed as, I don't know, sleep condition is fair. You can see it's all kind of beat up. It's got cracks, and there's a nice it's a nice split right here. See that? This is this is not in very good shape at all. I got this record from my friend Rick, who was a guy I knew a while back. When he died, I got the phone call and went over and cleaned out his apartment. And he had some records in there, and this was one of them. I knew Rick for a long time, and he never had records before, so he must have just bought some of these beforehand. Most of his music was 60s type music, things like Jefferson Airplane and the Rolling Stones and the Who, and he had this Black Sabbath album in there. I kept all his records. I still have them over there, but this was not in very good shape. As you can see, it also has a price tag. It was listed as $3.99, so he must have bought it secondhand somewhere. The vinyl itself looks pretty good, but it's got pops and crackles basically throughout. I mean, especially in the silent parts, and we all know how Sabbath, with the silent parts on there, during some of the songs, they have the lower parts where things get real quiet. So you got some crackles, and it's kind of distracting. It did have an inner sleeve, but it is not the proper inner sleeve. This is the inner sleeve that it came with. This is an inner sleeve from Atlantic Records. It's pretty cool, but this record is Warner Brothers, so it's not the sleeve that's supposed to be in this record. Overall, what can you say about this album? I don't know if you can see the track listing on there. There's the track listing. This is the album that starts it all. This album introduces us to Ozzy Osbourne, and it creates heavy metal music. I know, like I said, it was saying earlier, Led Zeppelin was playing heavy, Blue Cheer was playing heavy, the Who was playing pretty heavy. There was lots of heavy music at that time, but nothing was really metal. I think lyrical content is what ultimately changes this style of music into what is, instead of just hard rock or acid rock, as they were calling it at the time, into heavy metal, is lyrical content. Side one starts with the song Black Sabbath, and you get the rain and the bells and that deep sound, and we've all heard that. I mean, if you're a metalhead, you know what I'm talking about. And the first lyrics are, "What is this that stands before me? Figured in black points at me." I mean, that's heavy metal. That's what starts heavy metal, is that right there. So it's the first metal album, in my opinion. I do like these Warner Brother logos on here, on the labels. I love this whole, it's got the tropical palm trees and everything. I think it's really cool looking. These are on a lot of that early 70s type music from Warner Brothers. That label's on there. It's on most of the Black Sabbath albums. They've even recreated some of that on some of the represses. This album, if you were to buy this Pittman pressing from 1970, like I said, this is an original 1970 press. Yeah, it's listed as anywhere from $20 to $50, and they're all listed as like good or very good. I have this record as a good plus, and I have the sleeve as a fair. I don't know if I should call it poor or whatever. The record itself doesn't skip, but I don't want to call it VG because of the crackles and the pops that it kind of happened throughout it. Maybe I'll try the whole glue trick and see if that helps the pops. I don't know. I'll just leave it as is probably. I've thought about buying a new one, but it doesn't skip, so I might as well keep playing it. If I was you, if you were looking for one of these, I would just go ahead and buy one of the 50-year anniversary editions they released a couple of years ago. I mean, this album's 53 years old now. Tony Iommi's been repressing them as they turn 50 years old. So this album's been repressed with it's got cool hype stickers on it and stuff. I've got a couple of Sabbath albums. That one, my Paranoid is That Way, is one of the 50th anniversary ones. They sound great. So if you're going to spend $30 or $35 on a Black Sabbath record, you might as well buy the repress. Overall, this record, I mean, it's fucking great. It's got, Wicked World and Sleeping Village and The Warning. Warning is a great song, 14 minutes long almost. About 14 minutes. Black Sabbath, The Wizard, NIB. I mean, it's the beginning of heavy metal. This album is fucking tremendous, in my opinion. It's one of the greatest metal albums of all time, especially like if you like that doomier, slower sound, which is what this is. For me, it takes me back to that. I remember the first time hearing Black Sabbath, after I first got into hard rock and heavy metal, and hearing Black Sabbath and being transformed into, it's like story time music almost. It's like telling a story. Ozzy singing. Of course, Geezer wrote most of the lyrics. So, Ozzy gets a lot of credit for Black Sabbath, but Geezer Butler wrote most of the songs. So Ozzy was basically just the singer, not taking anything away from Ozzy. Of course, Tony Iommi is a riff master. Bill Ward, great drummer. Geezer Butler is a great bass player. I saw these guys live only one time in my life. I caught them at the end on their End of the Road, The End tour or whatever, as the only chance I got to see Black Sabbath. And they were fucking tremendous. And Geezer Butler, oh my God, he's so awesome. It's unbelievable watching him play. So overall, I mean, this album is 5 out of 5 stars. And if I was going to buy it, I would, if I have to replace it, I'm going to buy one of the represses. I'll buy one of the 50th anniversary editions rather than spending $30 or $35 from an album from 1970 that people are listing on Discogs as good plus or very good or whatever, So you're better off buying something that's brand new. So buy a brand new one. Like I said, these represses, they sound pretty good. My Paranoid sounds great. So, I mean, you have to, as a person who listens to heavy metal, you've got to have Black Sabbath in your collection, And because I'm a hard rock and heavy metal fan, the reason that is because of Black Sabbath. Honestly, we're those of us who are into heavy metal music. If it wasn't for Black Sabbath, would it even existed? Or obviously somebody else would have came up with heavy metal, but they get the credit, in my opinion, because they're Black Sabbath. And they were the first ones to take that sound and the down tuning and the riffage, and then to put those dark satanic style lyrics with it, which satanic is a misnomer because a lot of their songs are technically, talking about dark stuff, but asking for God for help. So they're not satanic, so to say. But the cover is awesome. I read on this, they recorded this album altogether. They recorded it in less than a day. It took them like 8 hours. They got in the recording studio. They had it for 8 hours. They recorded this whole album in 8 hours. So, I mean, it's like fucking, lightning in a bottle, honestly, to do that in 8 hours and come up with this and change the world when it came to music. So, highly recommend Black Sabbath to anybody who's looking for something like, oh, I don't know where to start with heavy metal, even though it's been around for 50 years. Hey, fucking listen to Black Sabbath, man. Give it a shot. So anyway, I love this album. Like I said, I'm calling it good plus. I'm calling the record good plus. I'm calling that the sleeve fair. Maybe you guys would list it as poor. I don't know. Why don't you tell me? It's got, like losing paper on the side. It's got a big split on the bottom. Maybe this is poor. Maybe I'm being too nice by calling it fair. I don't know. So go ahead and let me know what you guys think. So anyway, thanks for all listening. Like I said, 5 stars for this Black Sabbath album. Of course, it's Sabbath. What else can you say about it? So anyway, thanks for listening. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and like and subscribe down below. I really appreciate all you guys listening. I've really been surprised by the responses I've been getting. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you all later. This has been The Spirit of Vinyl. My name's Craig, and I'll see you all later.